Today we are taking out the old plastic intake manifold and installing the red aluminum 2017 and newer one. So in the last video, I asked you guys to name our BRZ project, and we got over 500 comments, which is awesome. So thank you very much for that. However, there's only gonna be one winner to take home this duck bill. But before we get into the winner, we had a bunch of great suggestions, a bunch of trends that I noticed. Like there's Night Rider, Black Mamba. You guys even wanted like Hazel, the dog, Yo's dog, to be the name of this car, which is kind of funny. I don't know how I feel about that, but that one didn't win. Another interesting one was BRZ. That's pretty creative. There was also HKS, and a bunch of you guys wanted to name a Daily Drifter, which is very suitable for the purpose that we're doing, but Daily Drifter just sounds a little bit too generic. So the winner who gets this to take home this D4S paint match duck bill is Austin B. And his suggestion, which is the name that we're going to be going forth with our project, is Sunday Slider, because it's going to be the car that you can take to the track, race in the weekends, slide it around, and still drive it home and daily it if you wanted to take this thing to work. Now, Austin, if you're watching this, which I hope you are, send me an email at thomas@jbautosports.com and we'll get this shipped out to you. Now, back to the intake manifold. In 2017, Subaru updated their models, only the manual models, with the red aluminum intake manifold that has like a red powder coating on the outside. Now, that is one of the updates that increased the horsepower from 200 from 2016 to 205, but only in the manual versions. The automatic ones still have the plastic ones, unfortunately. But I don't think the red intake manifold is the only thing that made it bump up 5 horsepower. And searching on the forums, people who did this in a swap just from factory 2013 to a 2017 red intake manifold, they didn't really see a ton of gains. However, it does flow more, but without forced induction being added, I don't think there's a real big benefit other than looks, and maybe it lowers intake temperatures a little bit. I'm no engineer, but just maybe the powder coating and the aluminum, maybe it'll make a little bit better difference in the air temperature. Don't quote me on that. Just thinking. I'm not qualified to state that as a fact. But we are fairly confident that this intake manifold is going to flow better, and we're going to see some gains with forced induction. Since we're going to be running boost through this thing, it should make a bit of a difference. And if it doesn't, it just looks a lot better. Now, to get these things swapped out, we first popped out the airbox and all the hoses connected to it. Then we disconnected and removed the ECU, which is above the passenger side fuel rails. Then we removed the fuel rail covers on both sides and disconnected the fuel lines that are connected to the intake manifold. Now, there are 2 coolant lines that are up front that need to be disconnected as well, and an electrical connection in the back that's a little hard to get to. After that, there's 6 bolts holding the intake manifold on, 3 on each side, and you can take the old intake manifold and wiggle it on out. Then we took off all the injectors and the fuel rails off the old intake manifold, popped those on along with all the electrical connections onto the new intake manifold. We didn't, however, put the old map sensor in the new intake manifold since we're going to be running boost, so we're putting an Omni 3-bar map sensor in there in its place. Now, there's a couple things that don't transfer right over from the 2013-2016 model cars with the new 2017 and newer intake manifolds. First one is going to be the passenger side fuel rail cover. That thing's just not going to pop back on. There's things that are going to be in the way. So there's these 2 little aluminum dowels on each side of the intake manifold. Those were in the way of our fuel rail cover, so we just pulled them out with some pliers. That gave us a bunch more clearance, but it still wasn't enough. There's some tabs that are in the way. I guess they don't have those tabs in the new models, so we just grinded them off, and it worked perfect. Now the second thing that doesn't fit quite right with the 2017 manifolds is the gasket for the throttle body. The old one uses this O-ring style, and the new one uses an actual paper gasket, like most things. So all we had to do is order the Subaru OEM one, and now we can pop the old throttle body back in. Now after reconnecting everything that we did previously, that's pretty much it. You bolt it down, you torque it, and you're good to go. It looks way better. Our engine bay still looks super empty because we're gonna leave it empty since we're gonna be installing a bunch of stuff. Radiator's coming soon. The Jackson, this one right here, this fancy new Jackson Racing dual cooler that has a oil cooler built into a radiator, which is gonna save us a bunch of space in the engine bay. We're also going to be doing an air oil separator install. We're going to be throwing new spark plugs in there. So a bunch of new videos that are going to be coming out very shortly. Remember, they're going to be coming out every Thursday, so you can enjoy our sweet new Sunday slider build. Oh, and we're also throwing in one of our new headers. So we'll go over that, as well as a cam plate installation since ours is leaking. Is that it? That's all the stuff I have for you guys? I think so. Yeah, we're gonna be getting those stuff done, wrapping those up, and then we're throwing on the supercharger. So stay tuned every Thursday. I'll see you guys in the next video.